Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us. My name is Bruce Van Brady with Brady Ware, CPA firm located in Ohio and Georgia. We do a ton of work with dealerships in the Ohio area, along with other places in the Midwest and here in the Southeast. We are joined today with Source Advisors, another specialty dealership advisory firm, formerly LIFO Systems. You may know them by that. But what we thought we would do is get our collection of experts together. We had a webinar last week that talked about a number of issues that RV dealers are facing, and we just thought it would be helpful to get the group together for kind of a short overview of what that conversation entailed. So let me get this started and turn it over to our experts. We have Sara Richardson and Charles Duncan here with Source. So why don't I kick it to you, and you can take it from there.
All right, good afternoon. Thanks for having us. We'd love to take a few minutes just to talk about how LIFO and cost segregation studies might be of benefit to some of your clients. With both monetary policy and COVID-related supply chain disruptions driving some current and future price increases, safeguarding inventory, which for your clients is typically their largest asset from the detrimental effects of inflation, is definitely something that you want to keep in mind. So this is a great time to look at LIFO accounting, particularly the IPIC method, which is Inventory Price Index Computation Methodology that uses indexes published by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. RV dealers have the opportunity to take advantage of this inflation to mitigate the current negative impact that they're experiencing due to these price increases. An RV dealer, I know they do range, of course, in how much inventory they have. So currently, whether they're at a $2 or $5 million level or up to $10 or $20 million level, they are great candidates to look at offsetting some of their tax burden with a LIFO election. Currently, as you guys are aware, inflation is a little crazy. Travel trailers and motorhomes are experiencing some pretty large inflation. Travel trailers are going to be currently at about 10% inflation. So a taxpayer or an RV dealer with $10 million of inventory at that 10% inflation could be looking at an after-tax cash savings of about $350,000. Of course, if they're larger, that amount's going to be larger, and smaller, if they're down at $5 million, that's looking at about $175,000. Motorhomes, and we should note, of course, the difference in the motorhomes versus the travel trailers. The motorhomes being the actual vehicle that the person can drive. The inflation on those is a little lower. It's at 4%, but that still could be quite substantial, giving anywhere from $350,000 to $400,000 on a $20 million inventory, about half that on a $10 million inventory. What we do find is that typically our RV dealer clients have a mix of those two, of travel trailers and motorhomes. So I would expect the average, to be somewhere between that 5 and 10%, giving them a pretty substantial tax benefit that first year on LIFO. If you have a client that's already on LIFO, we would love to just help them take a look at could the IPIC method be more beneficial to them. If it's not, then if they're using an internal methodology and that's working, then we're happy to help with that as well. But now's a great time to take a look at this tax savings opportunity. We do that for no charge. Just shoot me over some numbers, and we'll be happy to run some numbers for you to give them an estimate of the kind of benefit they could be looking at. Charles, I'll throw it over to you, and you can talk about cost segregation.
Thank you, Sara. Cost segregation has always been a great way of mitigating a tax burden, and 2020 brought us a number of opportunities or clarifications that we've been waiting on for quite a while. So I'm going to touch on about, I guess, 3 topics. One is that we get we got finalized bonus depreciation regs in 2020, and that's really helped us kind of soup up the opportunities or turbocharge the opportunities that we see with depreciation through a cost segregation study. We now have 100% bonus depreciation for those portions of a property that can qualify for that. And that means that if you perform a cost segregation study, that benefit's going to be realized in year one. Cost segregation is specifically a study that focuses on the real estate. We try to accelerate the depreciation on certain portions of that dealership. That includes certain types of land improvements and the tangible personal property that we see within the building itself. And it's not unusual for us when we perform a study to be able to, accelerate sometime, generally hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars of the capitalized cost of that dealership. We regularly reclassify, 30-something% with a typical dealership. And again, with these final bonus depreciation rules and the 100% bonus depreciation, all of that property that we're able to identify as having a short life can be expensed right off the bat. Going hand in hand with the opportunities with the bonus depreciation, which is from acquisitions and new construction, there's another opportunity that's often missed, and that's for dispositions. Whenever you have a major remodeling project on a dealership, so for instance, there's an image upgrade that's being required by the manufacturer, there's usually demolition that goes along with that. And if this is a property that you've had on your books for a while, in other words, it's already depreciating. When that property is demolished, that dispositions opportunity frequently allows us to write off whatever the remaining basis is of anything that was demolished. And so if a showroom is being completely remodeled, if we get out there in front of that prior to the remodeling project, prior to the demolition, we can assign value to these assets that are going to be demolished, and they can be expensed in the current year. And much with the cost segregation study, we're frequently able to expense hundreds of thousands of dollars by getting out in front of it. Here's the trick about it, though. Dispositions have to be identified in the same year in which the demolition occurs. And you can't look, so in other words, you can't look back in time. Also, with the dispositions, it's difficult to assign a value to something if it's already been demolished and the engineer can't see what's there. So really what you need to keep in mind is if you have a major remodeling project that you're going to perform, reach out and see if it makes sense to bring an engineer out to look at the property prior to demolition so you don't miss out on what could be hundreds of thousands of dollars in expensing opportunity from the disposition. And then finally, in 2020, we had the finalization of the 1031 regulations, and this affects like-kind exchanges. So for those of you who are exchanging up to a larger property, these rules ended up being very, very taxpayer friendly. So it's worth knowing that that's out there and to think about that before acquisitions actually occur. So with that, I'll pitch it back to Bruce.
Thank you both. In a past life, I spent a lot of time in real estate. And if there's one issue that even experienced developers always had a million questions about, it was when cost segregations came into play. So if that's not your primary forte, and certainly RV dealers, apologize for some of you who may have dabblings in real estate, but yeah, it's a tricky subject. So there's a lot of nuances to it. So I appreciate you giving us that high level look at it. Because there's a lot more beneath the surface. So if that's something that's a good strategy for some of the RV dealers out there, you're definitely going to want some help in doing that. So back to more of these strategies and how to find operational efficiencies and just some other areas that I think RV dealers, along with regular dealerships, are experiencing right now. Let me get Tony Wolf and Justin Ward from the Brady Ware Dealership team on. Justin.
Yeah, Bruce, thanks for the introduction. My name is Justin Ward. I'm a senior dealership advisor for the Brady Ware Dealership Advisory team. Some of you may not be familiar with Brady Ware yet, as we're one of the newer members of the RVDA. With that being said, we touch a lot of areas in auto dealerships, RV dealerships, equipment, and motorsports. As you guys all operate a very similar style business, just with different inventory. But the internal workings of the dealership, can operate at the same efficiencies. And a lot of the things that we've been able to help auto dealers with, and some of our RV dealers and motorsports and equipment dealers, are running these efficiencies in different portions of your dealerships. So we wanted to introduce ourselves as a team of advisors that have been gathered and put together over the course of a number of years, to put together a team that is probably unparalleled to most any other corporation that's out there, that can help dealerships from start to finish, whether it be on the sales consulting side, an operation consulting, all the way through F&I solutions, fixed ops consulting. We have experts in tax, of course. We have experts in accounting, which was our bread and butter. That was how Brady Ware was founded and built to the point it is today, before we started the dealership advisory team. We also have, between valuations, fraud, transaction services, we have a lot of things. And Tony will talk about transaction services here in a minute. But a couple of the things that we found that RV dealers may or may not have much experience in, and I'm going to talk about two things today. One would be our F&I solutions. A lot of RV dealers have just broken into the last few years, or maybe 10 years, maybe you're just getting their feet wet with having their own in-house F&I operations and F&I offices, and handling third-party loans, and those products that go along with those. And even if you've started your own F&I office, don't tune out yet, because there are different things that we can help with and coach with, such as setting up reinsurance positions, which create legacy wealth for the dealer, as a bunch of ancillary products that could help add on to and make sure that you're capitalizing on all of your F&I business. And so we specialize a lot in that. And one thing I want to mention at the beginning of this is that we are strategically partnered with Protective Asset Protection, which, if you guys have been in RVDA for a long time, you'll know that they are your banner sponsor as far as F&I products go. So we're proud to have that partnership, and we're proud to wear that badge with Protective, as they've been a big part of the RVDA for a very long time. What we do on the F&I side is, the very first thing that we'll like to talk about, or ask some questions about what you guys do with F&I, because everybody's looks a little different. We want to make sure first and foremost that you guys are compliant, right? So if you've just got into F&I, or if maybe you've been in it for a while, but you've always had that lurking question in your mind as you go to sleep, are we being compliant? Do I have to worry about an audit? Do I have to worry about someone coming in and tagging me for compliancy issues? Those are things we can help with, and we will be happy to come in and do a free deal audit. We come into your dealership and pull, 10, 15 deals at random over the last 3 months, and just search for the things that we know that people are going to be looking for on the compliancy side. And those are the baseline things that we do to start off that relationship and let you know, we've been around for a very long time. We have a lot of industry expertise that we can offer, and we can give some free guidance before we even partner to do business together. But, as we look at other things, we train, we do weekly service or biweekly service. We have tons of different products to offer. And then, of course, like I mentioned before, the dealer participation programs, or reinsurance, if you're familiar with those. And there are several different levels of those that we can introduce to you and see which one's the right fit for your dealership. Once again, and we get down to that, we'll take some numbers from your dealership at no cost to you, and we'll actually build out a pro forma. Most of the time we see a 30 to 50% increase in profit without turning a bolt inside your dealership. So we're looking at a lot of different programs and a lot of different things that you can do around your dealership. There's not many things like F&I solutions that can create that large of a profit increase without really changing any of your internal processes. So I encourage you, take a look at your F&I, and if it's something we can help with, we're happy to come in and do a free evaluation, do a free deal audit, let you know what we do, and, just help you along the way. The other thing I want to touch base with everybody on is digital marketing. Whether your inventory is good at this point, or whether it's still looking a little bleak like the auto world is and some of the motorsports because of availability of units, or whether you guys are sitting on great inventory, it's a great time to make sure that you guys are capitalizing with all of your audience to make sure that you are on the up and ups and are reaching out to only RV dealers, or only RV customers. we want to make sure that you're targeting not just the mass market and putting it out in a newspaper, putting it out on a billboard. We want to make sure you're doing smart marketing. And we have a digital marketing platform that we've created, and it has evolved, obviously, especially through the pandemic last year in 2020, where more customers are shopping online, more customers are looking for more information long before they ever set foot on your lot. And I'm sure that no one is exempt from those new parameters that we're all dealing with. And our digital marketing platform will really allow you to make sure that you're smart marketing to customers that are in market for an RV, motorhome, or trailer, whichever you might have sitting on your lot. And we're happy to show you how that can affect. And in most cases, we're impacting higher sales at less total cost, most of the time to the tune of 20 or 30% less cost to the dealer. So I encourage you to maybe reach out to us, myself specifically, as a senior advisor for Brady Ware and specializing in digital marketing, to see if it's something that could be a fit for your dealership. That's really all I have for those two things. And obviously I touched on a lot of other services that we have. So I'd be happy to introduce any of the experts in any of those fields to see if anything would be a fit or any way we could assist and help you grow in your dealership. But I'll turn it over to Tony Wolf, and he's going to talk a little bit about what he does specifically in his area of expertise with Brady Ware.
My name's Tony Wolf, and as Justin said, I handle transaction services, mainly on the buy-sell side of the business. Between myself and the other experts at Brady Ware, we've done hundreds of dealership transactions, either representing the buyer or the seller, but heavily involved in the negotiations and taking deals from beginning to end. We're involved in a lot of other business transactions also. And in this current environment, it's hitting the RV industry, as you know, as it's hit the dealership business. Transactions are hot and heavy right now. A couple of reasons for that. One of the main reasons is fear of a capital gains tax increase next year that has people looking to sell, maximize the value of your dealership and your life's work. You don't want to give most of that back to the government after you've put 30, 40 years into your business. And there's a lot of money out there and a lot of private groups that are looking to add to their portfolios, as there are in the dealership world. There's a lot of those in the RV world that are just starting to expand within regions and even across the country. So the money's there. The multiples on businesses are good. And again, tax reasons are one of the main reasons. People are looking to possibly transition out of the business. That's something Brady Ware, the one thing with us, since we do have transaction services, so we perform the services of a normal broker, but we also bring in all the other expertise, as Justin mentioned, especially through tax planning, valuing your dealership. Let's make sure you get the most value for your dollar. You've put your life's work into this. Let's make sure you leave with every penny you deserve on the way out. So again, we can help you with tax planning. Again, and the biggest thing of value in the dealership, putting it together, marketing. We'll be there with you from beginning to end. We will help you we have experts to bring in. If you need a buy-sell specific attorney, we have dealership attorneys who, again, have just specialized in buy-sell to make sure legally you're protected on the way out. Parts inventory companies, asset appraisal companies. We have all the experts right here with us to make sure your business is ready to sell and, again, ready to maximize the value for you. A couple other things that just to touch on from your business operations overall. Justin, again, touched a little bit on the other services. From an accounting side, one item we bring and a great service we've offered to all our dealerships is internal control and fraud prevention. A lot of people have experts that come in after the fact and can see what happened and try to help you get, recover, after an incident of fraud occurs. We like to be out there ahead of that and put the proper processes and procedures in place. One thing we have is called a SAFE, which is our secure automotive financial environment, where we can come out and analyze do an overall dealership review of how all your paper and all your transactions are recorded. But in that, again, go to each department, analyze it, make sure payables, receivables, doing your bank recs, making sure everything is tight and following the procedures they should be to avoid any type of, be it employee or outside fraud activity. So I mean, again, we can bring everything to the table from, as Justin said, fixed ops, which a lot of you are getting into, F&I, accounting, internal controls, buy-sell activity, and again, and heavily into the tax and state and local and federal tax savings. So, with that, I would just, again, if any of those things are of interest, to you, I know we can provide a lot of assistance and a lot of benefit to your business, and we look forward to working with you. With that, I will turn it back over to Bruce.
All right, thanks, Tony and Justin. Yeah, there's a lot for RV dealers to be considering. There's a ton of opportunity there for them as they develop more sophisticated businesses. There's just a lot there to work with, especially in the current environment. So that's what we had. We wanted to recap what we talked about on the webinar. We're hoping some of these things are helpful to you as you try to grow your business. So thank you, Justin and Tony. From Brady Ware. Thank you, Al and Sara from Source Advisors. And we will connect again, I'm sure, and hopefully be having another one of these conversations soon. So if you, for all of you out there, if you'd like to reach back out, you'll be able to find that on our website and as well on the title slide here. We've got everybody's email addresses. So very much appreciate it. And thank you very much, everybody.